Hi, it's Hazel. Welcome to my channel, Hazel on Active Design. I wanted to bring you guys into the loop. I had a very pleasant day the other day and sold 3 journals, which was lovely, including, I have to say, it's like a mother parting with giving up a baby for adoption. My last or second purple journal, the one with the bird and and the spine dangle. So that was, that was lovely. Mixed feelings, but lovely. And then the same lady commissioned a baby book. Now, because, excuse me, because the birth is imminent and because of my surgery, I thought I had better get on with it. Now, they don't know the baby's gender, which kind of ties my hands a bit, but I did follow up with the buyer to say, just ask a few basic questions like, thinking, mostly mother preferences. So, well, I wanted to know what color the mother's hair was, because if I use, I should, before I get into too deep into this, I should say that I think a video like this will appeal to beginners, but I also hope that there's something to be gotten out of this video for people who have been doing this a while. I know that even though I have many journals under my belt now, I still love hearing about people's processes. And, because I always think there's something to learn and there's something, tips and tricks and shortcuts and strategies to pick up, whether it's the actual mechanism or mechanics of making a journal or in the organizational aspect of it. So I'll just, I hope you hang in there is basically the gist of it. Anyway, so what I have found is that the parents are brunettes. So that means don't include any blonde baby images. Or that's the reference or the conclusion I'm drawing. They prefer muted pastel colors over bright primary colors. So that's a big tip. Minimalist versus frilly-dilly, girly. And again, it's hard not to, when thinking about babies, to think about, soft and cuddly and lacy and so on. That would, and I know, gender stereotypes, we shouldn't be doing it. However, I think anyone would be a little disconcerted if it turns out to be a boy and the journal is all lace, because society's beliefs don't change that quickly. Anyway, this isn't supposed to turn into Gender Studies 101. Okay, so I thought that you might be interested in seeing what I have accumulated and what I've done so far. I should say that I had done a couple of baby books early on in my career, and I know this probably doesn't fit, well, it doesn't fit into the viewing area here, but this is one of those organizing things that has these built-in pockets. So after I had done those early baby journals, I thought, well, I can't really afford to have all this baby stuff taking up space. So that thing has been hanging in my overflow in my second craft area in the basement. Anyway, so I pulled that out, started organizing what was there, found that I had a few things ready to go. But, if you're like me, once you start working on a project, you think, oh, yeah, what about, so this morning I thought about, Little Golden Book. Now, I don't have many of them, But I did find this one that would have, you know, because usually the kids are toddlers that are in these books. So I thought I could maybe kill two birds with one stone here and show you what I learned from watching a video the other day about how the woman deconstructed her little golden book. Is my screwdriver handy? And of course, I could get a bigger one than this. So basically, in that video, and we know there's all kinds of ways of using little golden books, all the woman did was attempt to pry the text block away from the cover. And I just used this little spatula that, you know, got at the Dollar Tree, and it worked pretty darn well, I have to say. Now, I'm not going to, this isn't about, repurposing little golden books or anything, but obviously I will get rid of these staples and I will have a cover ready to go. And the beauty of that is that the cover stays intact. Like sometimes you see people alter these little books and by the time they've added a spine and some decorative element, half the title is covered. Well, I wouldn't be happy with that. So anyway, so let me put that aside. So I will fussy cut some images, although I have to say, this baby is going to need a haircut because somebody colored right there. Colored the bunny right there. But again, that's my problem, not yours. So I will do that. I was just beginning to feel frustrated that I sometimes vaguely remember what I have. And of course, when you thrift as often as I do, you know, all of us who thrift say, oh, I just turned on the camera so that I could, you know, put this stuff away. Well, let me confess that putting stuff away doesn't necessarily mean that you can ever find it again when you need it. Or not easily. So I was thinking, oh, I did this beautiful baby book thing-a-majig. Well, obviously those patterns don't matter, but there were a lot of cute, look at all these little babies here. So the paper is glossy, but certainly I could, there's a christening gown. There's a little sweet little baby. That's a little brunette baby. And I think I remember saying that this magazine, well, book, whatever it is, was old enough that this was when all babies came in only one color. And that was snarkiness, but it was so true. Do we have a date on this or not? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Original price, $37.50. Thank you very much. So these gigantic pictures are probably too big, but you know, there are other ones. So I was just very relieved that I found this quite easily, because sometimes I can spend days looking for things that I know I have somewhere. So let me show you kind of what I have been up to. This is another one of those books that I build master boards in. This one is more square than the other one, and I'll just quickly flip through. I still love this so much. You've seen that. Anyway, what I was doing, I was just drowning in some of these scraps of paper. Like, so this is an illustration from, or illustrations from oh my goodness. These were partial pages from a book, and you can see that the style of illustration is quite, you know, bold and different, and just to give you an where did I put that? Just to give you an idea of what some of those illustrations from that book look like, that make it a bit of a challenge to use. I had fussy cut some of them earlier. So these, well, those are fairly normal, but there are some weird things in here too. Like this kid was basically talking about what a terrible day or weeks or whatever it was in the family. So you need a certain kind of project to use something like this. But these things are fussy cut. So these were kind of the surplus ones. You know, don't we all feel like that some days? Anyway, so I thought, you know, I'm sick and tired of handling these things. I know that there are some organized, you know, creators out there who pretty well, at the end of the day, glue stuff down just to deal with it and get rid of it. So I did this. Now, I guess this could theoretically end up in this journal, but if it doesn't, it's not taking up any space, it's organized, and the work is half done. Now, if it turns out to be a boy, this colorway is wrong. And I had enough to do another half page or so. Then another thing I had was millions of these strips that came out of a beautiful book. And yes, it was a baby book because they're little ducks and so on. So I thought, okay, again, far more useful to me. Now I could have deluded myself into thinking, oh yes, but if you ever need to decorate a tag, you just take one of these strips. Well, yeah, I could, but I still have a few more. And I didn't bother cleaning my desk because this is the reality of being knee-deep in a project. So I also have these that are kind of, you know, mostly pink that could be ready to use if we end up with a girl. So anyway, I have that. And frankly, depending on how a person further decorates this, the only thing that gives it away that it's baby as opposed to just feminine are these faded little, you know, ducks and so on here, and this little brighter strip, and that's easy enough to cover. And then I had enough to do a second one. So I just wanted to show you that. Now, as I went through my supplies, I realized, okay, I've got gazillions of stickers as usual. I had an old thrifted kit that, wait, maybe I should close this momentarily so you can see a little bit better. I had a kit that included things like this. Now this will be, I could easily, I guess, cut out, you know, fussy cut those little hands. I could just cut those stars off and use that. But there were other images. Oh, I accidentally, somewhere here in the chaos is the other leg to that stork. But the kit included oh, and a giraffe's tail is bent. You know, that's the problem when too many of these things kick around for too long. Anyway, they had big white strips around them. So I cut around all of these things. Again, some are generic. You know, like the little baby pin there, or diaper pin, I mean. Rubber ducks. You know, you could get away with a mauve baby. The kit also had, and this was from the 90s, so that's why it looks a bit primitive. These sorts of things. Again, you can just tell by the photography that it's old. So these are on standby waiting to get a finishing touch added to them. Look at these little brass, or probably brass shoes, baby shoes. So things like this, the little quilts. So anyway, I keep touching, rearranging, grouping, using things as they sort of make sense to do so. Now, again, I didn't bother doing that before turning on the camera because I'm in the thick of this. I also found that I had these that I had ripped out of ideals before I knew what ideals really were. And those little handprints would be really cute. I also, at one point, must have stamped a bunch of little pairs of hands on scrap paper, just because I must have been working on baby journals and ended up doing some of that. So this is kind of what is surrounding me. Oh, and I should say that with this kit, there was also, well, I could show you here. There were also all these solids, and it turns out, and they're double-sided, but they're, you know, each side is different. This was, I had 2 of these and papers from that baby book. You'll start to recognize the little baby duck there. So I'm using, for the time being, I'm using them as signature covers. So let me just show you what I've done so far. So for now, I just have these papers in here, and I'm thinking, boy or girl, this can work. Then I thought, well, this is pretty practical. I know that many of us are not really journalers, but maybe, you know, for 6 months or so, a person could record height and weight. That's a bit too wide, although I do not have a cover idea whatsoever. Here's another piece of paper that's double-sided. Then this was too beautiful. Those of us that are mothers remember how cute babies are when they're sleeping on their stomachs with that little butt in the air. So I didn't want to, obviously folding it in half would have been kind of dumb. So I ended up adding, oh, and this was the other side of that page, which is also pastel-y. I mean, if it ends up being a boy, there's the little boy. Cute little envelope, again, that has colors that could go either way. And then I just decoupaged a baby napkin onto this envelope. So that probably requires, oh, I see a little bit of cracking in the paper. There's the other side of that thing. I would leave that so that, you know, in case anyone ever does print a picture of their baby, they could stick it down there. So that's what that one looks like. Whoa, I almost knocked something over. So same, another combination of, or maybe I just folded it differently. And then this, I love this so much. You know that I have a problem, a weakness for gift wrap. So this is so beautiful. It looks vintage. It says babies are a blessing, which is true. So then from that kit, there were these diaper pins and a couple of soothers. So and little hands. So I fussy cut around everything, and including the centers of these things, and ended up thinking that this could be a centerfold. Because is this not, sure, they're pops of color, but it's pastel. It's as cute as can be. We don't know the gender of that kid, so that works as well. And that is all I have in terms of real sort of pages. Now, if you've seen some of my, I did a video on harvesting harvesting elements from baby clothes. So now again, I can't use these things because they came from a little dress. It'd be too, even though the color is good, I wouldn't use any of these things until I know that the baby is a girl. Okay, what else have I got here? Oh, I did open up a package of die cuts, which again, I will obviously cut these a lot closer to the images. I don't like all that white space out there. So again, I have to kind of do this extra work. Maybe I'll do that during the hockey game. And, you know, kind of sort it so that when I'm seeing I have this baby boy die, oh, that's exactly these. So this I'm leaving near me as a reminder that I could make a hangover tag. So things like that. And I just have a sorting bin beside me to keep some of these elements separate. Now, remember when Costco used to sell all these sort of handmade cards? Well, I have this one, and it's so darn cute. So hopefully at some point I can use this. Now, it's got those raised elements. But isn't that cute? It's a baby. Like a little not a clothesline, I guess, but there is some bulk here. So maybe this ends up on the cover of something. I mean, not something, the book. Okay, let me show you a few more things. So, again, because I have my problem, let's see, I was considering this. These are stickers, but they are also, when I pulled at one corner, I think they're calling them vellum, but they're also translucent. So for instance, if I put this over this butterfly, you would see the butterfly through there. So I have to kind of be careful about where I use them. Now, this page, if I'm not mistaken, is something like, could it be 16 by 16? Something like that, close to it. Which means that it's too big to turn into a signature page. Plus, it would be fairly thick by the time a person backs it. So I tore around these as close as I could get. So diapers and pins, here I am. All our dreams came true when they played, so nice, generic baby talk, baby sentiments. Now, of course, using something like this would be an issue because however you cut it, you're going to end up, it's not going to make sense. So I'm just for the time being keeping all these things together, thinking this could be the finishing touch on some tags or pockets or whatever. So I wanted to show you that. And the thing is, I really haven't bought anything specific for this journal. It's all things that I've already had and things that ended up being thrifted. So there is that I'll just put in a bin. Okay, so I told you that I have a problem with, maybe it's distracting to have that bright green there, with wrapping paper. So another thing I found in that hanging organizer is that at some point, I guess I glued down a bunch of wrapping paper to, okay, this would be a file folder. So part of the work is done. Now, this is obviously going, this is portrait, but this could turn into 4 tags very easily. In fact, I should put that aside for cutting. This is so beautiful. Now, the blues and greens are probably leaning towards a boy. And there's the compulsory little train thing that you need for a boy. So this was back when I was doing things on separate pieces of paper, either file folders, ugly cardstock, scrapbooking paper, whatever. So not quite as handy as the doing it in a book. This is another vintage paper. Now this one, yes, there are flowers and little bluebirds and so on, but I think this could go either way. That's clearly still a file folder. So I'm just reserving some of these things until I know I need them. But I'll tell you, it's pretty darn handy to have them when you get a kind of a, well, sort of a rush job. I love this, and I've used, well, I'll show you, I've used it elsewhere. Now, this, when you use a file folder as your backing, it works great for tags or pockets, but less so for as a signature page, because of course, it does get thick. So we'll see what happens with that. I do have more of some of these papers. This was kind of miscellaneous because you can see that I must have wanted to capture these scraps off some gift wrap, and then these two are going in another direction. But again, with this, oh, I see I've got a bubble here. With these nice boxes, it's easy to just hand or use a cutter to separate them into the different elements. And so for instance, this could be a pocket, mind you, a fairly wide one. Belly band, it kind of depends what a person needs. But again, I would consider this pastel and ready to use. This I love. Purples and blues and yellows and sort of, turquoisey color. So I'm just holding that on reserve. Then I found this, which is clearly another old wrapping paper. Very pastel-y. Looks like I put these on file folders too. So again, or was this tissue paper? Because I've got this kind of this bulge here. You know what? This might have been tissue paper. But certainly the right colors. And then I found that I had I had the same paper on probably a file folder. So then what I did was I used some vellum stickers, no, not stickers, some vellum sentiments, and just tried to pick ones that were a little more I guess easier to read, because to put something down, like this is hard to read, so tiny. Whereas Sweet Pea or Cutie Patootie or Rockabye Baby, or even this one, Kissable Kid, are bold enough that you could see them against that busy background. So again, how I use this, I guess, remains a mystery. It does enter that category of being thick. Now, I suppose I have enough distance between the elements that I could probably keep them intact if I had to. Use them for side pockets or whatever. Peekaboo almost disappears. But I just wanted to show you that because I think, it gives a lot of options. Okay, what else have we got going here? I've shown you those fussy cuts. I've shown you the strips. I also found in the stash that I had obviously cut up some of those master boards that you've seen. This is also very cute. I've sewn around some of them. Some of them are very miscellaneous, so this would need, and this is all gift wrap. Something like this, you would need to, or this, like who needs that end of the cat without a head? So you'd probably want to cover that up. So these things are sort of halfway there, but they do, require more to make them usable. Let me find another clip. Got millions of clips, so it does help to sort of keep like with like when you're organizing. What is this? Oh, I also have a number of these images of mother, well, no, that's not mother and child, but these are all mothers and child, and like this is a Mary Cassatt painting. So, you know, many of these will be recognizable. They're works of the masters. So again, all these women are brunettes, which works out pretty nicely for me. So I will, and they're just cut out of books, obviously. I could back all of these and have them ready to go. I don't think, well, it would be overkill probably to just butt them up and create a master board. Can you tell that I have master board on the brain? And again, you can see that some are far more vintagey looking than others. But yeah, so there are all these to do something with. And of course, if you've watched me for more than a minute, you know that I typically have way more stuff than I can possibly use in one journal, and that's how I end up doing 3 or 4. Oh, I probably should say, now I'm taping this on, is today the 30th? It's Friday. What is it, the 30th or the 31st? Oh, it must be the 31st because tomorrow is June 1st. Anyway, as of today, my first purple journal, that's the one with the wallpaper cover, the doily on the spine, and so on, is available for purchase. Now, I haven't listed it anywhere yet because, of course, when you list things, you get more exposure, of course, but you also get, you're subject to, all the commissions and whatnot. So I did reach out to a guy that had been interested in it, and I guess we'll give him a little while to see what he's doing. Now that I know that Renee picked the second purple journal and not the first. Okay, let's keep going here. This is just some light. This came out of a kit. Again, this was intended for a boy, but so some of these things might come in handy. Again, they look kind of, they're sweet and somewhat pastel, something like that. But again, I wouldn't want to use any of these until I know. Now this one I suppose could be used. Maybe I should sort them as I'm flipping through. So we can't use that. That's a blonde kid. We can't say handsome guy unless it's a boy. Bunny is cute and pretty generic. Cutie pie, too much blue. That would be okay. That would be okay. Our sweet baby. Probably too masculine. Sent from heaven. Our big boy. Giraffe. Little sweetheart. Yeah, so I'll keep these on standby. Okay. I think maybe we're getting close-ish. And as I'm sort of, choosing not to use things, so in that hanging thing, the scrapbooking paper that I have is all pink. Now, of course, if the baby ends up being a girl, I would probably revisit that stash of paper. I have not had time yet to look through my, you know, 12 by 12s or even 6 by 6s for that matter, to see what I can, you know, what might be a cute pastel, generic kind of background that could lend itself to the, you know, to the book. Oh, I've got, well, I'll show you this. Oh, I guess I do have a few more things to show you. Before I show you that, these are images that I clearly stamped before on bits of white cotton. So baby booties. So of course I could use those at any time. Rattle, rattle, oh, more booties. I must have liked those. I have no idea what baby bottles look like now. I doubt that they look like that, but this one is a poor stamp, but it's a dog and cat. And this is a sentiment: bottles and booties, bibs and more, a new little someone to love and adore. So I can clearly make snippets or, you know, further decorate these in some way. I think I should, that would be the base of something because it's not very good otherwise. And I have lots of baby stamps. I think at one point I was thinking of getting rid of them. But knowing me, I didn't, so I can still use them. Now these are stickers that, so here's another duck. So again, I want to use things like this up. So you'll see me using these on those cards that I have to decorate or whatever, just so that I can throw this away and know that it's done with. Now, the other thing I have are some black and white images. Long ago, I bought this book. This is one of the earliest books I bought. Now, I don't know if that's probably German. So it was a book on children's photography. So these are the baby images that I have. Now it's showing how to crop a photo, get the focal point. Now this is clearly, oh no, this is from there too. But this baby is way older. Now, this isn't very much to work with, to be honest. Now, I have this, and I guess I have this out of an Ideals. So, again, do these make it into the book or not? I don't know. But for the time being, I'm keeping them in the wings, waiting to decide. So let's put a clip back on this. I also have this little book that I've obviously deconstructed. Now this, oh, there's one of those photos again. So mother and child images plus these cute little quotes. You know, so I haven't even, to be honest, looked through them again, just like until right now. So I will go through them again now that I've maybe got a bit of time to do that. So I will see if there's something here that can be used, or I could pick a few pages and just make a little tiny booklet, you know, deconstruct a book and then reconstruct it to make a book. What's wrong with that picture? So there's that. Now, out of that book where I showed you those beautiful, was it? Yeah, this one. So you may recognize some of these things that ended up in that master board. So this book, and you know how I feel about mice. However, when they are dressed and sitting reading a book, no, that's a rabbit. That's not a mouse. So a combination of some rabbits that are so darn cute. You know, and again, when I took this apart, I left as much space as I could for writing. Okay, so we've got mice, we've got rabbits. Now, I did ask Renee if, you know, do they have a favorite animal? Well, she mentioned some sort of a breed of dog that I never heard of, so the chances of me having anything like that. Oh, so these have been, some of these have been backed. I should maybe separate them that way, not by animal type. So these things would be ready to use if I, you know, just embellish a bit more. Maybe by adding a rubber duck. You know, that doesn't really make sense in this situation, but it is something that could work. And then these I need to take a closer look at and see, okay, did I go to the trouble of fussy cutting something that should be stuck on the edge of a page? Because, you know, I have those very plain pages, signature pages. Now, another thing I could do is do some stamping on those pages, you know, some subtle overall design. So, again, the work is still there to do regarding this. Now, you know, Renee, the buyer, like so many other people who are curious and want to learn and understand, you know, her question, she asked me more than once, how long does it take to do something like this? And I'm thinking, of course, number one, I truly don't know the answer. And number two, I would never, even if I did know the answer, I would never say it to a customer or probably anyone, because it's a creative process. It's how do you clock the time you spend? Like, it's not, okay, so for instance, my daughter has a master's in communication and has her own consultancy firm. So when she's doing work for a client, she has an app that tracks how much time she's working for a client. I don't have an app that tracks how much time I am sourcing materials, how much time I spend fussy cutting as I'm watching TV, how much time is spent dyeing paper, or, you know, like it's impossible to figure that out. And frankly, I don't want to say a number one, because I don't know it, and I'm sure that just to make myself feel better, I would probably underestimate. Because then otherwise it feels like, oh, so I'm working for sweatshop wages. Now, of course, all of us do this because we love it. If we were expecting to get a fair return on our time, you know, then like get a grip. It's not going to happen. Anyway, I don't know why I told you all that, but okay, so these are raised things. They tend to be on the pink side. Again, this is just standing by. Now, these are, again, can't really use them just yet, so I'm kind of holding it together. This is pink, this is blue, so these items are just nearby. Now, this is a greeting card, again, that has all these, I mean, it's cute. Would I peel these things off, get rid of the little the little not glue dots, but you know, those things those little foam squares that raise stuff up, like so. We don't need those extra, we don't need that extra height. So what I would probably do is peel these off. That came up easily. Probably remove that and then glue it back down because, oh, but then some of it won't be visible. Like, unless I move this over quite a bit, you won't be able to see that it says stroller time. Okay, that's another job for during the hockey game. The Oilers are in Dallas for the next 2 games. Series is tied. You probably can't see when I hold it against something so busy. So out of that same kit that I showed you earlier, there were these there were 2 or 3 pages with these sort of openings for photos. So I separated them because I wasn't about to use them as is. So I don't know what I'm doing with them just yet, but they are ready to go, and for the most part they're pretty generic. Oh, one thing I did do with one of them was used a vellum sentiment, and again, purple could be used in any kind of journal, so that is ready to go now. I think that, okay, if we had this glued to a page, that might be, yeah, rather than back it, oh, maybe it's better to, well, let's just do a little experiment here. If I glued this down to this peachy, okay, that's not too bad. Yeah, that could work. Or here. So you can see that there are a number of options. I also had gone through all these types of stickers, and these were the ones that I either set aside because they were too gender specific. Where are the ones that are in the semifinals? Oh, right here. So there are still all of these that could be used in some way. Now these would obviously be cut, and they could maybe decorate you know, the bottom of a page, almost like a footer. This is one big verse, so this would need to be, you know, a thing in its own right. And then there are a number of others here. So again, lots of material to work with. And it just, I know I've said this before, so forgive me for repeating myself. And I may not have said it today, but I've said it in the past, is I just love when I'm able to use, I think I should put this in here, use something up and know that, hey, that's done. So we'll hold this all together. Boy, these bags are annoying. I mean, it's kind of good when they're the right size and you can close them, but who hasn't sworn silently, and maybe not so silently, at the, what the heck is this? Oh, this is something else that I kind of clipped together. So there's a sun, stars, moon theme happening there, but then the rest of these are all quite pink, so I should probably keep all this together that is very gender specific. Well, that's it. I have a couple of neutral pieces of paper here waiting to be used. Sorry, trying to. Oh, and I also have these. Now, they're stickers. Now, knowing me, I would probably, at some point, just cut this halfway across so that it's easier to store. I won't do that till I know if I'm using some of this stuff or not. This is really cute. This is very scary looking. I don't know what the heck that is, but oh, I have some more. Here's another. This is a really cute baby image. I don't know if mothers still or parents still do that, but I think most older parents have bathed their kid in a kitchen sink. These are out of a children's book, obviously. But again, they're both boys, so can't use that until we know. So I'll keep these things in this page protector for the time being. Oh, you know what these are. The bane of my existence. Oh, here's another bunch of stickers. Now, these could be used because they're generic enough. I would get rid of the little riser there. That's, again, boyish. Some of these I could use. Again, pretty. Yeah, Provo Craft. That's an old company. I pulled out these green 6x6s because they were in one of these bunches of stuff. Okay, let me just do my usual rant. Yeah, these are rub-ons. So because I have no faith in rub-ons whatsoever, what I'm going to do is probably take a piece of just copy paper, and I do have copy paper in all the pastel colors. So I'll pick something. I'll cover the page with these things, and if they are any good, then I can use them, but I don't have to worry about them ruining a project. In fact, I think what I'll do in my smaller just had a brainwave. In my smaller book of what do we call these? Master boards. I have this, but some of that doesn't say baby to me. I can't remember. Did I do anything in this book? I guess not. I must have used the bigger book. What I could do is take one of those pastel papers, cover this. It has to be dark enough so that it covers these fairly dark pages. Oh, or I could do this. I could use this back page here because it's just, yeah, white on white. Use all of cover this whole thing with these rub-ons, and then just cut or tear them out as they're needed. Otherwise, they stay in. Like, that's brilliant. Oh my God, that is a good idea, guys. So yes, I'll do that. Let me just keep this in here as a reminder. And, oh, I started to say, well, I did tell you, I guess, I did show you that I will be using some of these things with some of those vellum stickers. That's a good quote. And I think And then other than these, well, I did show you some of these, so I don't have to show you that again. Oh, these were some of the things, and again, you can just tell how dated this is. These were the images that were around some of these shapes. So, again, it's cardstock weight. Look at this. That's cute. Fairly thick. Well, I'll tell you which book this came. Well, I don't have the actual book here. I had Fussy. This was about being a big sister. Oh, here are some of these ready to use. So this is what this baby looks like. And this, of course, is the sister. But would you know for sure that she's the sister? Yeah, I guess she looks pretty young. I was going to say we could pretend she's the mother. And this is like a heavier weight. I have used these images in the past. Like this could easily be a tuck spot. Coochie coochie coo. I don't know what she was doing in this picture, but anyway, so these are sort of on standby as well. And this came out of that same book. I think I have brought you guys totally up to date. You know, these would also work. Oops, not that. And I tried to, I kind of just, you'll see that some of the margins are not the same, but I did that on purpose, thinking that it includes more colors. Some of these are so skinny, though, that, like skinny there, wide there. I don't know. I'll see what I do with these because, oops. These are annoying to store. So it seems like I should either put them in a book or create a master board or something with them. You know what I could do? Let's pull this back in. I have no idea how long this video is, but okay, so back to this page. I could glue a lot of these things down. But does that make any sense? Okay, the size is just about right, or probably perfectly right, for turning this white page. Oh, 11 by, oh yeah, 8 1/4. And because the weight is good, what I could do is rip this, so much for this idea, but I still will do it on another piece of paper. Tear this page out of this book, and then use some of these frames, like glue them randomly, except not in the middle. You know, do some sort of a thing where